Hi, everyone. This is Marina Kolmer from William Raveis Real Estate. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a very special guest that we're going to chat with and get some really important information. Let me introduce to you Francine Silberman. She is the executive mortgage banker at William Raveis Mortgage. Hi there.
Hi, Marina. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me. This is a special day, I think. We have two William Raveis ladies giving information, basically. There's a lot of information out there during this pandemic about finances, about mortgages, about refinancing. I think it would be really helpful for the audience to hear it from an expert like yourself. What is the latest information today?
Thank you. Yes, the one thing that I like to emphasize is that every situation has a context that's personal to the individuals that ask questions. There's general information, and then we often want to have a very direct and private conversation, whether it be with a buyer or with the seller, to really help them understand whether their circumstances are going to suit the recently changing underwriting guidelines. A lot has changed. A lot of institutions, lending institutions, have restricted some of the products and criteria in which they lend. So sometimes if someone had been looking for several months and watching rates drop, they may think that the pre-approval that they had in hand was still valid. And in some cases, it's not. A lot of the guidelines have changed. The credit scores may have increased and their particular scenario may not be still approved. So it's very important as a buyer to make sure you have another conversation with whom you're seeking your financing, or speak with myself or my colleague to make sure that what you're looking to do still will be okay. And the same token goes for sellers, to make sure that when they're entertaining bids, especially now with much more heightened awareness to the fact that markets have shifted, the criteria in the stock market has changed, your potential bidders have to also have a very up-to-date pre-approval to make sure that nothing is assumed. Something that was issued a week or two ago could be invalidated now.
What are you seeing now mostly as far as requests for loans? Are they jumbo?
Everyone wants to take advantage of the very low interest rate environment, and rates, of course, are specific to different types of loan percentage as it relates to the value, the credit score, the size of the loan, pretty much rates. And I don't like to quote because, again, it's very specific and not general, but they're in the mid to low 3% range. Sometimes for investment properties, you'll see a higher rate of interest. There's a lot of interest in buying investment properties. A lot of people are trying to find a different type of dwelling so that they're maybe not as inclined to be in the city. We're seeing a lot of people refinancing, obviously, to take advantage of the low rates. Rates, just as a footnote, are not zero. We do know that the Fed did cut rates about a month ago to a lower threshold close to zero, but the consumer rate is something that's higher. And that has precipitated, prior to the virus taking root, and I hope everyone stays well and healthy, but prior to that, they were starting to drop to the lowest we've seen in over 50 years. I've been doing this for almost over 3 decades. So this is the second refinance boom that we've seen. And we want to make sure people understand refinance is not about a standard equation. It doesn't mean that if it dropped a point, you should refinance. It's about what it is you want to do, what you want to accomplish. Do you want to take money out to renovate the home, tuitions for school? Do you want to save in a different investment structure? With rates so low, it makes so much sense. And every case is defined differently by how we evaluate.
Right. So, some of my sellers who are in deals right now, who have contracts signed, they're so nervous that their buyers, that something's going to happen because of the doom and gloom news that we're hearing all the time. And yes, things have changed, but I feel like what you are telling us is that mortgages are being approved, they are happening, appraisals are happening, even though they're different, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. So to address that, most transactions do not have the gloom and doom. Although some of the contracts now have language, COVID language, that allows for the opportunity, should there be an unfortunate circumstance and a job loss, most transactions are happening. They're closing on time. We're meeting contingency dates because clients are proactive and we rely upon them to get all the information in a timely fashion. Appraisals can be done by exterior only. In some cases, we do have to go inside. If it's a cash out refinance, they want to make sure the dwelling is intact on the exterior. But by and large, we even get appraisal waivers, which in some cases, there's no appraisal necessary because there's enough data in the Fannie Mae, which is the Federal National Mortgage Association. There's enough data that we can glean from that and we can get a pass, so we don't have to actually have an appraisal. And closings happen many different ways. They happen inside offices with distancing in separate quarters. Purchases are happening with people in different rooms. Everyone's masked, gloved, but it happens. And I think that powers of attorney are being used more readily because limiting the amount of people in a transaction is helpful. I have not personally seen any change to the type of business that I'm doing, but for a few transactions that had to pause because they were really renovation oriented loans or people were trying to take out a lot of cash. There's some restrictions right now. It's a suspension until we kind of let the landscape settle. And our president, Ryan Raveis, is in touch with legislators and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau to kind of work the legislation, to kind of make the institutions and the government aware of what the needs are in the mortgage industry. So we're proactive. And I think for people who are looking to make decisions in the anxiety level, talk to us and tell us what it is that concerns you, because we can help you understand the best way to put yourself in the right position, understand your comfort level, determine if this is the right time to buy, maybe buy a house that's more expensive than you actually thought you could afford because the rates are low.
Yeah. Interesting. You know, it's so fascinating on how we are all learning how to do business differently. You know, and it's working. It's working to a certain extent. It's certainly not the spring market that we know. Or
Well,
that
it'll be the fall market or the summer market, right? You know, I think that what happened is that we were, when people are dedicated to what they want to do and you want to learn more about how we do what we do, we learn how to do Zoom meetings and we learn how to do things that we never thought we could before. And I actually posted today on Instagram, follow me, that it's not what we do that makes us strong, is realizing what we really are able to do that we thought we couldn't is where we get our strength. So the real estate market is the same thing. People never thought that they would just virtually make decisions to buy homes, go into contracts, but nothing's really changed. I mean, I've always been sort of the disembodied voice and never have met clients. I've often found that people really get comfortable when they can have a conversation. And of course, meeting people is important to what you do because that's where everything used to happen. And now you're doing it virtually. And it's really like the same. It's so nice to see your face and it's nice to talk to people. Sometimes I'll have kind conversations. We can do them virtually.
Yeah,
know who they're dealing with.
Well, I'm having the best time doing these interviews and getting to catch up with friends and clients and small business owners and experts in their field. And I want to thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marina. I appreciate that. And it's really always a pleasure to work with you. You're the consummate professional.
No, thank you. And it's always a pleasure to work with you. And thank you, everyone, for joining.
Yes, and stay well.
Stay well and reach out if you have any questions. We are very easy to reach. Take care.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.